Hi everyone, and welcome to the XR Bootcamp. Thanks for joining my session on the 3D dimensional learning in the education. My name is Daria and I'm the founder of the Cleverbooks company. We are fully into the augmented reality for education. But I would like to share with you today the interesting insights on how we can develop the growth mindset for our kids from the early days with the augmented reality as a three-dimensional tool. Let me first share the screen. So you can see my presentation. Okay. And let's walk through that. So the topic of my talk today is the 3D dimensional way to empower the future growth mindset. And let's work through that and understand what is exactly the future growth mindset, what's the difference between the fixed mon and the future growth, and also how augmented reality can help us to develop the future growth mindset. First of all, I wanted to give you an overview. There are a lot of tools right now connected to the XR that are helping kids to develop different technological skills. And there are different options starting from the mobile phone, from the tablet, different augmented reality glasses and virtual reality glasses. So all possible tools that could be used with different applications and providers in the augmented reality. So that's one of the coolest things than the times that we're living now. And I think that's amazing that there are a lot of opportunities for the education technology sector to drive the XR and support the educational skills and the meta skills for the kids to get them developed in the future. So what I can observe today that there are different trends in the education technology, and I just want to briefly share them with you, because all of them are representing the 3D dimensional learning in that sense. So one of them is the mixed reality and IoT, which combines augmented reality and virtual reality, and it supports different environments for learning. And one of them could be the glasses for the mixed reality, also where you can see the virtual reality or augmented reality overlaid with the actual background. IoT also is an object or a set of objects or the sensors that could represent the mixed reality interconnected. The virtual reality creates the full immersion, and the augmented reality supports the viewing of the original world and the world that is behind that is overlaid, which is augmented reality. I'm a big fan of augmented reality, obviously, and I think that augmented reality supports, in that sense, a lot of opportunities for the kids in primary education to develop the skills based on the ed tech. And why augmented reality? In my opinion, the augmented reality supports specifically the primary education because it has the differentiation between the real world, in which they are learning and then find themselves, and also shows the overlaid or augmented world around. And I think that helps also kids in primary education to clearly differentiate what they are learning and differentiate that learning objects from the real world, which will be a little bit difficult for the minds of primary school within the virtual reality where you have the full immersion. And I think that the powerful tools of the XR today that we have are actually supports this education as the weapon that can change the world. And the skills, in my opinion, that based on the education technologies should be developed from the early ages, because they are going to be the base of the future innovators and the future creators of the world around us. Now let's go back to the augmented reality. Augmented reality essentially is a 3D tool, and I think it's a 3D tool, 3D dimensional learning tool for all the ages. There are obviously different types of the augmented reality. Wouldn't go through all of them, but the most popular that I used for the educational purposes are focused on the markers of the specific target and the pixels that are recognized by the specific apps, and also markerless, where they work on complex surfaces. Sometimes the geolocation could be a good option for the education, but those are the main trends for the as augmented reality as a tool used for the educational purposes. Why augmented reality? Augmented reality supports obviously different learning styles, and like I like to say personally that augmented reality is the possibility for the kids to see, hear, and touch the knowledge. Why all those together? Is because when you have the augmented reality, you can see the augmented or overlaid objects to the real world. You can touch by interacting with the touch screen with them, and obviously you can hear if there is a voiceover. So augmented reality supports different learning styles and also supports the opportunity for the teacher to create these personalized learning approaches. It touches different aspects of the learning process and helps also to develop different skills. So first of all, it supports the audio. If there is a voiceover for the 3D objects used in augmented reality, it supports verbal, it supports visual, and also if you have the interaction and different types of gamified approaches and tasks within the augmented reality app, there are also different social and logical skills developed. So learning styles are different, and we have already come to the conclusion that in the education it should be a personalized approach to learning, because everybody has different skill set at the beginning, everybody has a different mindset at the beginning, and all the kids require different types of exercises to develop the same set of skills that is required by the curriculum. If we go further, we understand that augmented reality used to be a nice to have tool, but now it's going more into the direction of really one of the essential tools for the modern education. Why is that? The reason for that is because it has proven that it supports the opportunity for the teacher to create the environment that is innovative and to create the environment of curiosity. Augmented reality helps indeed the kids to learn more and to use the technology for the educational purposes without losing this touch of the curricula. And if the lessons activities based on the augmented reality are well integrated inside the lesson plans. So obviously, apart from the fact that augmented reality enhances the learning experiences through seeing the information, through hearing the instructions of the teacher or of the education technology app, and also doing, if there is a smart integrated approach of having different interactions between the technology and the student as well. Also, we know that kids are really well into the devices today, and it's important also to use the elements of EdTech combined with the traditional methods of teaching in order to support this curiosity and motivation to learn. And also, we need to keep in mind whatever technology is used in the classroom, it forms the basis of the digital literacy and digital skills for the kids. So that's also one of the important things, to keep on this fun and discovery, this engagement with the learning material, rather than keeping the same traditional used for decades, the learning methods of reading books, reciting something, and so on. So working on the projects, working on the technology and the combination creates this necessary result that we all require to have the digital skills developed for the future. It also makes the abstract real, with the ability to teach and experiment with at least almost no cost. If we take, for example, the geometrical shapes or different heritage or different animals, for the teacher to provide the information about the subject, it's not enough anymore just to tell something or show the 2D picture. If there is an opportunity to support this learning material with something that is live, that is 3D, that you can look from different sides. So that also helps to not only to showcase something that that could be found on the pages of the workbook, but also helps to develop the abstract concept understanding. Especially, it's used well in the chemistry, in the science, and the geometry teaching. We also need to keep in mind that every education technology has a goal to support teacher at the end of the day, and it brings this opportunity to demonstrate the information with different or with multiple options rather than the one that existed years ago. So it is already in the research papers that augmented reality supports this information retention for the long run, and up to 33%. It also increases the retention of the information and interest for the learning subjects in the class up to 100%. So augmented reality as a 3D dimensional tool for learning helps students to develop those necessary skills that are required for the workforce of the future or for the 21st century skills of the future. And that's why I mentioned that digital literacy is one of the key those meta skills that we all require, and is also supported with the AR. So going further, let's see how it's connected to the mindset. There is a fixed and the growth mindset. And I think that to have an understanding of what is a fixed and what is a growth mindset, it's important just to give you an example. So let's start with the fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is pretty much when we all start with different skill sets. So somebody has more, we call it, somebody's more gifted with the specific skills of, like, I don't know, speed reading or running really fast or learning really fast, retaining the information really fast. Somebody not. And the fixed mindset, opposite to the growth one, actually says to himself, oh, I cannot read fast. I cannot retain information for longer. So that's my fixed mindset, and I can't go anywhere with that. I cannot develop this. So I will be with this skill till the end of my life. So with this opportunity, with this setting to yourself that you're not able to develop yourself, you have this skill the way you were born with, and you keep this skill throughout life, that's a fixed mindset. The growth mindset supports the opportunity to understand that you can do more, you are able to do more, and you can develop the skills that you're looking for with putting some hard work, with having some attitude, and with having some tools in place. So what is a growth mindset? It is essentially when you have this set of skills with which you were born, but you understand that you can develop them with the time. You can understand that you have this opportunity to see the world differently. You have the tools that can support you, the development of the skills. Let's say like information retention in that sense. So keeping the information, numbers, words, or general, or in general, is that something you can do. The growth mindset has several building blocks, and those building blocks focus on the specific skill set and understanding of what you can do as a human, and how actually this can be connected to the education technology. And in our case, we're going to review that based on the augmented reality. So growth mindset is understanding that you can approach new tasks from different ways. For example, you can learn something about geometry by reading a book, by looking into the different information. You can learn abstract shapes in geometry by trying to build them with your hands, or you can learn these abstract shapes by using the geometry application based on the augmented reality. Different people have different ways of retaining information, so you can select the way you prefer, but augmented reality covers all of them. Then, experimenting with new things and doing new things is another building block for the growth mindset. Why experimenting is important? Because if you are at the set point where you have done things the same way all the time, you get the same results. If you start doing something differently, you obviously can get a different result. So experiment is a part of the growth mindset. So going and trying to do things differently than before opens you the new horizons and new understanding on how you can apply different tools to achieve the goal you like. Fail to succeed is another building block of the growth mindset. But why failing is so important? We were talking, there are a lot of information about that. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to fail several times, then you need to get up from that position and try to build something new. That's all about life. We need to understand that life is changing, and that's something that kids need to understand as well. So if you are in the same position and you're trying to keep safe all the time, you can't really achieve a lot. So you will be keeping yourself at the position of the fixed mindset rather than growing and learning from something that you haven't done before. So if you start learning something and you fail at that, then you can always go back and relearn. There is a meta skill that is a part of the growth mindset that is super important for the jobs of the future and for the for the people of the future. And it's regardless if you are at school level or you're an adult already. The reason for this skill is called um, lifetime learning. We all heard of that, but there's a different notion in the set of meta skill for the lifetime learning, and it's called people of the for the jobs of the future need to know how to unlearn, learn and relearn. What is that? So when you have learned something before, how to do certain things, and then you come to the point when the life has changed, and technology is one of the drivers that changed our lives tremendously. So you need to understand that you need to unlearn the information you knew before and learn it a different way. So you relearn essentially that information, but you keep it um, more modern and more up to date. So that's why it's important to introduce EdTech at school as a part of the curricula, because it supports this new way of learning as the base for the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe there will be a new technology coming up that kids will have to unlearn this one and relearn something new. The same about change in roles as a part of the growth mindset. So change in roles, meaning being in the position to look into the information from different angles and understand, brainstorm, and collaborate. So that's why I'm a big fan of the education technology and the augmented reality, which supports collaborative environment, so where kids can actually uh, feel the position of the other player, feel the position of the other part or other person in the classroom they're collaborating with, and understand different cultures, different mindsets, and being able to learn how to do better to survive in the environment of multi-technology, multicultural, and different mindsets users. We need to learn how to adapt to change. And that's a critical part, and it's also an important meta skill that is a part of the growth mindset building block. Adapting to change, meaning that you need to learn how to get the new skills all the time. And that's something that is a part of the technological advancement currently, and that's something that we all, adults and kids regardless, need to understand. So here, when we're talking about the augmented reality as a part of adapting to change, this is a new tool, this is an emerging tool still, and it comes to our lives, and then instead of rejecting that as a teacher, you need to embrace it in the classroom and show the kids that yes, that's one of the tools that I have to learn together with you because it's a new reality and the new digital skill that we're all coming up to. And also an important element is the eagerness to learn. It's something that we all need to have at the back of our minds. Currently, the growth mindset, the all meta skills support these lifetime learning activities. We all need to understand that augmented reality is a part of them, virtual reality is a part of them, all XR is a part of the learning process. But we need to embrace all those new technologies all the time. And if we try and fail, which is another block actually, we need to still keep on adopting that to what suits us, our professional life, and our skill set that we're trying to build. And obviously, receiving criticism is one of the key elements, because you need to understand what you need to stop doing, start doing, or keep on doing. And that's one of the key things that in developing any type of skill. So I think that the growth mindset here with the blocks makes us understand that embracing technologies for the 3D dimensional learning like augmented reality supports that if it's brought into the classroom um, with a specific app that helps to grow the skills, to understand the information the teachers bring from different angles, helps to adapt to this change in the educational process, and supports also different learning styles. But how actually we can see augmented reality driving the skill set of the growth mindset. You can see in the picture here, I'm just showcasing you that there are different learning tools, and here is a combination of both of them. We can see the traditional map, which is a traditional tool for the kids to learn geography of the world around us, different animals and plants, and different kind of, let's say, travel the world in the old-fashioned way. That is the tool, in my opinion, of the growth mindset. That's a map. That's a tool. We can overlay the new technology with a 3D dimensional overview of the same world to support the curiosity that kids might have and support their opportunity to learn more without even leaving the classroom. And that's the opportunity for the teacher also to look differently from the pedagogical perspective on the way that information is delivered based on the curricula. How we can develop growth mindset using the augmented reality for education. So in fact, we can first identify the start point, because if we don't know the start point of where we start from, we can't really grow. So that's why it's important to have the activities for the growth mindset designed on the EdTech tools, and one of them could be obviously the augmented reality. So we can follow the daily example. We can do the self-reflection and see what works, what doesn't. And I think it's important for us to understand that we're all learning, regardless if you're a teacher in the classroom or a student in the classroom. We all go through new tools, we all go through new ideas and new development. And I think it's so important for us to see, like, okay, that worked better. We can do next time something different. We need to develop a grid, and it's something that identifies how we can meet the goals that we set. So it's important for every single person to have a goal and to know where he starts from and how to reach this goal by step by step. So, for example, if we take the augmented reality as the tool for the goal setting, we can see that using the augmented reality in the classroom today, we have learned this set of information. We can try different way of just learning the traditional way by reading a book or doing some exercises and puzzles without the augmented reality. We can compare what works better for me as a teacher, for me as a student, and see how we can progress further so we can be more efficient. Then using the EdTech tools is something that supports self-exploration. Self-exploration in the sense of developing, of learning about yourself, what works for you in terms of longer information retention, in terms of what do I need to do to learn the set of the words. Is the augmented reality a tool that supports it, or maybe I just need to sit and read it several times? What actually motivates me to do more in that? And obviously taking an action. Taking an action is having the starting point and then walking through that starting point towards your goal. And obviously looking the opportunities to learn. what can explore more opportunities to learn for any individual? I was talking about the personalized learning a little bit earlier, and I have mentioned several times that we can't actually use the same methods and use the same tools for every single person. Because we finally at the point where in the 21st century we have identified that people have different learning capabilities, different methods of retaining information, different methods of applying this information into practice. So we need to finally find a way on how we can approach those individual learning styles, and in some and just combine those means of teaching and learning practices that will actively support those this curiosity, motivation, and growing as a personality and individual. So that's why I strongly believe that augmented reality covers those personalized learning. It does have this opportunity to support growth mindset through trial and error and trying something new rather than having the same everyday type of work. So growth mindset is something that supports kids in understanding that they can do something, that they can challenge themselves and learn, that they can bring this effort, and this effort is the sometimes could be a failure, sometimes could be the something that helps them grow, but it's still a growing opportunity. And when I was talking to different educators, they said to me like, when I'm bringing a new technology, I am really stressed because I'm not sure if it's going to work, and if it's not going to work, I might lose the space in front of the classroom. I strongly believe that there's also the opportunity to create the growth mindset for the teacher to introduce the new technology like augmented reality in the classroom, for example, because they will learn something new and they will see how this pace of learning can be developed within their classroom settings and where augmented reality could be applicable for which students and for which specific tasks. And that's the massive difference between the growth mindset and fixed mindset. Currently, in my opinion, in many cases, we have still this fixed mindset for the students, and it's developed within time by means of not having this personalized approach to learning, not using something that will develop their digital skills and prepare them for the future. The methods of teaching could remain the same because at the end of the day that they are tested, and that brings that frustration in their adult lives. You know that we're losing the creativity with times, and that's already the proven research that at the age of 12, the majority of the kids losing creativity, and when we're adults, we have even less creativity than when we're kids. That's the frustration that we are judged based on the results of the tests, which to which we were prepared at the end of the day by the same type of methodology and teaching. You just need to sit and learn. So I think that augmented reality is something that covers those different learning styles and approaches. It's a tool that creates the vision for the future, and it's a tool that creates this understanding on how you can actually develop yourself by using seeing, hearing, and doing. And also, it helps kids to be innovative. The reason for them to be innovative with the augmented reality is because that they see the example of the one of the edtech tools that could be used in the classroom, and maybe tomorrow they will decide to build something on top of it or develop and expand it to make sure that the future classrooms will be equipped with better edtech tools. And we all know that education is super important, but it's important to understand it's not about how educated you are, it's about how you are educated. And I think that's something that we all need to keep in mind and need to focus on. It's not about uh, what we develop, but it's about how we develop. So it's not about the growth mindset and the augmented reality that the whole presentation I had here. It's about how you can use different edtech tools, including augmented reality, to support best learning practices and develop best skills for the growth mindset for the kids. Thank you.
Hi, Daria. This is
Hi.
your moderator. Uh, that was a very, very exciting and engaging talk. I'm so lucky to have been chosen to be your moderator today. And while we are waiting for questions from the audience, I'm gonna just talk to you, okay, about
Talk to
about this,
me.
this thing. So the first question I have is how did you get into all this area?
That's a good question. So I'm a big fan of using new technology for education, and I'm a big fan of introducing new things through trial and error, and making
Mhm.
sure that we get the development inside ourselves. And I was always curious about different technologies. So for me, it was so important to understand what could be other tools in the classroom that will help and support the development of the digital literacy and digital skills for the kids. And then I looked into augmented reality and see how it could be applied to the educational process. Because the main thing here is that I have a kid and I see that she's like really upset about going to school, and something that I observe every day when kids are putting their heads down and walking to school, like like it's gonna be no fun there. So I think that introducing something like this might support their learning ability and their curiosity to be at school, and to have the innovative learning approaches. So that's why I decided that I need to disrupt the education that way.
Mhm. That's awesome. Not just seeing a problem, but actually doing something about it is great. So how do you encourage this whole eagerness to learn, this whole growth mindset? How do you encourage it in a in a kid who is maybe discouraged from school, from all the demands that they have there, and so how do you move them from the gray fixed mindset to the blue growth mindset? Basically, is my question.
Okay, so first of all, we need to think of that who has this fixed mindset and who has the growth mindset at school. So when I'm talking to a lot of educators around the world, and I'm doing a lot of presentations specifically for the educational sector. And the interesting thing that the fixed mindset so far I have observed mainly among the teachers. The reason for that is because they were taught in the university a specific way, then they have used the same method of teaching at school, and they are not really, in many cases, not really eager to change. The reason for that, because that will be outside their comfort zone, and if you want to have a growth mindset, you need to be outside your comfort zone, because
Right.
that will support you
But
growing. Because
but that's
if you
uncomfortable to be
yeah,
outside of your comfort
yeah,
zone.
exactly. So once you are outside your comfort zone, that's where the learning actually starts. So using something like a new tool, augmented reality, or any education technology tool, it is actually a challenge for many teachers, and that's why they are avoiding and trying to kind of push the old-fashioned methods. When I was at school, I was starting pretty much with the books. So you read the book, you write something about this book, you retell the book, and that's your learning curve, and that's something how you are supposed to retain the information. But a lot of people are talking about personalized learning right now, and personalized learning is different approaches. So
Yeah.
somebody can read a book and understand, somebody needs to listen to that book, and somebody needs to have this tactical understanding of the information. So that's why I think that augmented reality is the tool that actually supports and helps to have this 3D dimensional approach in touching all this kinetic, audio, and visual, empowerment that people are having. Like, because we all have something developed better than the other, so why don't we use this personalized approach in learning? So, and I think that augmented reality supports not only this personalized learning, but also supports this innovative approach, because
Mhm.
right now, today, it is an innovation at school. It might
Yeah.
not be the innovation in 10 years' time. It might be something else, kind of combination of the augmented reality and something else to be the innovation. But introducing innovation at every stage at school, in my opinion, will help to open those creative minds and uh, this eagerness to try something new and the development of the growth mindset.
All right. So we have a question from Pratmesh. How can we make people aware of AR and convince them to adopt to AR? So
That's a
how,
very good
again, the
question.
same question. How do you get there?
That's a good question. Thank you for this question. And this is something I'm trying to do for many, many years. So, in first of all, it depends who are those people and how we want to make sure they adapt AR. But you need to go always by trial and error. You need to have yourself a growth mindset, and you need to lead by example. So you need just to showcase them all the time. There is nothing difficult with that, and there is nothing that can make them a big fail on using that. Interesting thing here is that people, like we are humans, we are all excited about innovation, we are all excited about something novel, but we are not excited about using it. So that's why we have those different sets of audiences who are early adopters and who these um, middle kind of stage of adopters and the late majority. The
Yeah.
reason for that is because we are cautious about using innovation in general as humans. It's not only connected to AR; it's in general. And the only thing you need to engage those who are open to use new things, who are open to adopt those technological advancements, and also motivate them to showcase that it's nothing difficult with that, and it's going to be um, really, excitement and success in their area if they start using some new tools.
Okay. So Alessandro is asking, I've seen lots of fixed mindset in industry with training provided by experts, not educators. What is your take on importing XR education tools to company training programs?
Okay, that's good. That's a good question. I absolutely love it. So, you see, augmented reality is a tool of visualization. So anything that could be visualized, and especially that is an abstract notion or something that is difficult to understand, what I will be explaining in words. But let me take you to the example of the primary school. If you tell the kids, imagine a hexagonal prism, what is the chance that the 7 to 12-year-old kids will imagine that straight away if they've never seen it? So something that is difficult to explain in words could be used with AR. Now you've seen a lot of fixed mindsets in the industry, and it's connected. Like educators and trainers, they prefer to go their own way, the one that is proven with years, the one that they've used before, the one they feel comfortable with. And that's why I
Right.
was talking about unlearning and relearning in the new age of technology. Technology is the biggest disruptor so far compared to cultures, different wars, and everything that happened to our planet and humanity, that has disrupted the way we live, the way we work, and the way that we're supposed to educate each other, um, really, really in the short term. So having said that, people who used to deliver the information a specific way they liked, they keep on doing the same, because otherwise, if they start using new technologies, it will bring them outside their comfort zone. Being outside their comfort zone is not really comfortable, and they will wait till the last moment to use something new. It all depends on the type of mentality. I strongly believe that we need to adopt, maybe not on the bigger scale, but try through trial and error, because it's a part of the growth mindset. Adopting technologies in different educational processes at school, in adult education, in corporate training, because if we, for example, have the opportunity to explain something with the AR, like I've seen different surgery classes or like education of the doctors explained via augmented reality or virtual reality. It is a massive success. Then also I've seen a lot of augmented reality applications, different training purposes for electricians or the people who need to repair a server or something like this. You just use the glasses, you have instructions in front of you, and that's a part of the training set. So in my opinion, it just takes some time to learn how to explain that, and not all the trainers are ready to invest their time in this learning, and they need to be pushed by those who are adopting new technologies and innovation in first place, and they will outplay those who keep on delivering with the old methods.
Yeah, the numbers that you showed about education test scores being up to 30% and the retention being 100%, that's really truly encouraging. And I assume that these were done by large scale studies, so these are not just numbers that you pulled out of thin air or
Yeah,
anything like that,
yeah. Well, it's not my numbers, but
right?
this is something that you can find over the web by searching how augmented reality influences the education and impact and has what impact it has on the educational sector. You will come up with the research on the ResearchGate and find the numbers.
Yeah, so there's the motivation on the company or enterprise education part, if you like, but governments usually move much slower, and most of the public education is in the hand of governments. So how do you imagine this happening in the future? How do you imagine these new technologies, AR, VR, XR, or even just technology penetrating schools and replacing the old school books, textbooks, and things like that?
Okay, I will answer your question with the very interesting fact. So, with all these times that we're going through right now, obviously everybody hates COVID and lockdown, but
Right.
thanks to COVID and lockdown, finally, the education system started to understand um, how they have struggled to go for the remote learning. They have never had practice on that. They, in majority of the cases, didn't have even equipment, especially when there was the global lockdown in spring this
Yeah.
year. And they had a lot of conversations with different educators and the principals from different schools around the world. So would be found on the YouTube those videos where I was hosting panel discussions with them. And the interesting thing is that those schools who were early adopters of different technologies, including like AR or having the hardware at school, using the software at school, they kind of had more or less smooth transaction to the remote learning. They were ready because they had those homeworks, they had lessons, they had everything that they kind of needed for the educational purposes, and they could just switched for online, and that's it. Well, they had probably some problems here and there, but in general it was really smooth. And I had a conversation also with several principals in schools where they had massive headache, problems of moving everybody online. There was either no equipment, there was no software, and especially software, because when schools are buying software and augmented reality, let's say it's intangible software, you can't really see it. And when the schools are the educational system in general investing the money in the software, they don't see this investment as an investment in something valuable. And the reason for that is because they don't see it. So once you buy a computer, you see a computer. If you buy a software, you can't really see it unless you start using it. And at that point, they started trying different software. They're looking what suits their school. And I think that this moment of having a lockdown and pushing everyone to go for the online and remote learning made many people think of investing in the education, investing in the software, and investing in edtech in person, in principle, because those tools have supported these online learning capabilities that were so much required during the lockdown. So this type of stressful situations, they have made some impact on the educational sector, I think, quite
Yeah,
significant.
and also schools where they struggled even with doing basic Zoom teaching or anything, which unfortunately my son's school is one of those. Uh, they may see this whole move to technology as a failure because they struggled with the basics. So on one hand, yeah, COVID helps and does help push this technology forward. On the other hand, it does give some post-traumatic stress to some teachers, if I may put it that way. And
Yeah,
that's the fixed mindset that you were talking about. So we need
yes.
to change the educators somehow. And one of the one of the most difficult things, myself being a developer of enterprise AR applications, whatnot, I know how expensive even one specific application is to develop and do it right. So how do you see how do you see the content creation part scaling up to cover the all the necessary parts? I imagine something like Khan's Academy or something like that,
Mhm.
a central library that can be translated to different languages, and access the very best educators from all over the world, but not in person. So that's a trade-off. How do you see content creation in the long term?
I'm glad you asked about content because obviously that's one thing to develop the augmented reality app. It could be costly in some cases. It depends on the type of augmented reality app and on the way that you represent the information there. But content is a key in everything, and I think that while developing the augmented reality app, it's important to have constant feedback on how this app is going to be used. How do you want this app to be integrated in the educational process? We know that there are different curricula around the world, and we know that there are um, a lot of curricula that demand having EdTech technology applied to what are the contents of this curriculum. So you need to keep in mind when doing this. It's better in like the way we do that at Cleverbooks. We always have the different consultants among the educators, not just technology consultants or instructional consultants, but specific people who work on different curriculum around the world, specific people who are in touch with their country or region specific curricula. And we work with them to see what are the contents required for their region. Then we can blend them to make them more affordable for several regions. And we see then what types of interaction and pedagogical aspects need to be in there. So to develop the content is the most expensive and the most difficult part because it needs to be comprehensive, it needs to cover what is required by the government, and it needs also to be attractive for the kids rather than just information bland put in there.
Yeah, this is certainly a very nice and very promising and fruitful area that you're in, but it is not easy by any means. But that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Difficult, but worthwhile things. Okay, we got 1 more minute. If you could tell us how we can learn more about you, how we can get in contact with you, how we can learn more about what you do, then the floor is
So
yours.
that's gonna be easy part because the most difficult part is to remember my name and family name. But if you have them, you just Google for my name, you go for LinkedIn, and you will be able to find different contacts. But the company is called Cleverbooks, so you're welcome to go to the website and learn because we share our best practices, we share the information and how we quite an open company, what we do because our mission is to support and the app development in the augmented reality space to support those who create educational tools. And I think like being open and having other companies on board for collaborative practices, which we do always with the AR producers, with the different ad tech companies. Having this collaborative effort that will help us to make the change in the world of education. I'm a strongly believer that we can all together disrupt the education sector, even though it's connected or could be connected to the government or those sectors that are really difficult to disrupt, which education definitely is. But step by step, little by little, combining the forces, we can always do that. So go to the website cleverbooks.eu, find me on the LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect and see how we can collaborate to change the world of education.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the chat and thank you so much for the talk. And with that, goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.